Alright guys, today for science we're going to do Unit 5 Lesson 1, which is the properties of matter. Oops. Let me start
Look at these two containers. They each contain water.
Hold on.
What can you tell about?
Alright, there we go.
Welcome to the lesson. What are some physical properties? In this lesson, we're going to look at how matter can be identified by its properties. The vocabulary words for this lesson are matter, physical property, mass, temperature, and volume. Click each word to learn more about it.
Alright, I'm going to click on each word and read it to you. I know it kind of echoes, but when I put the headphones in so it wouldn't do the echo, it kept stopping the video, so I'm sorry it does the echoey thing because it's recording it on the microphone, but it doesn't skip or stop the video when I do it this way, so you'll have to just deal with the echoing. I'm so sorry. So matter is anything that takes up space. So everything in the world is made of matter. Mass is the amount of matter in an object, so how much matter it is made up of. Volume is the amount of space that matter takes up. Physical property is anything that you can observe about an object by using one or more of your senses. So remember your five senses are sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. So if you use any of those to figure something out, it's a physical property. And temperature is a measure of how hot or cold something is. So as we go through the slides, it will show us how each of those are used to find physical properties.
Look at these objects. Look at these objects. They have similarities and differences. Use some of their qualities to put them into the boxes. Drag the images to the correct locations.
Okay, so this couch is not red and round. It can be soft and large or small and hard. So it's soft and large. The screw is not red and round. It's not soft and large. It must be small and hard. An apple is red and round. A ball, it's definitely red and round. This is round, but it's not red. It's not soft because it's a marble, so it's hard. And it is small. And then the last one is a pillow.
That's right. You were able to sort the objects by looking at some of their physical properties: shape, color, size, and hardness. These properties are easy to see. There are other physical properties that you can't determine just by looking. Continue on to learn about some of them.
So these ones we could use a physical properties to sort. So we can look at the colors of them for like the red. We can touch them so we know it's soft or hard. We can see the size of them. So comparing them, if you picture the size of an apple and the size of a chair, they're different in size, and you can sort them by height or how much room they take up. So those we can use physical properties to find. Then on the next page, we learn about some other things to sort them by.
All those objects you just looked at are made up of matter because they all take up space. When you sorted the objects, you used their physical properties. You can observe or measure physical properties without changing the matter. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. It is a physical property that can be measured. You use a balance to measure mass. Click an image to find out more.
Here's a computer.
A computer is made of matter, so it has mass. The mass of this computer is 10 kilograms.
So this thing that's in the picture is called a balance scale. So you put something on one side and you add weight to the other side until both sides equal the same weight. So they'll balance out and they'll be level with each other. And that line in the middle that's sticking up above them is a little black needle, and when it's lined up right in the middle, it tells you that both sides are equal to the same weight. If you've ever gone to the doctor's office and they've weighed you, usually they have a similar balance scale where you stand on the bottom and there's weights up at the top that they move to measure how much you weigh.
The mass of this volleyball tells us how much matter it has. The mass of the volleyball is 600 grams.
So next to the volleyball on the other side, they put the weights on until they equaled each other, and they equal both 600 grams.
How much matter is in this toy car? Let's look at the mass. The mass is 1 kilogram.
And finally,
the glass of this beaker is matter, and so is the liquid inside the beaker. The mass of everything together is 400 grams.
So if you read it and look at it, it's saying that both the glass and the liquid inside are weighed together. So we're not just weighing the glass and we're not just weighing the liquid. The total of both of them together is 400 grams, not just one or the other.
Think about a cup of water. That water takes up space, so it is matter. But how much space does it take up? You can measure this amount of space, and you'd call it volume. Click each cylinder to learn more.
So here's our first cylinder with the purple liquid.
If you pour the water into a graduated cylinder, you can measure the volume. The volume here is 80 cubic centimeters, or cc.
So it's like a number line up the side of the beaker over here. So down at the bottom it starts at 0, and then each of the big longer lines is up by 50. So 50, then 100, then 150, then 200, 250. So then the little lines are halfway between 50 and 100, or 0 and 50, which would be, if you think of a dollar, or 4 quarters equals $1, so each one of them is 25 cents. So it goes up by 25 each time. So it's above 50, and then it's above the next 25. So 50 plus 25 is 75. So if it's a little above 75, then it's going to be about 80 cubic centimeters. That's how they got that measurement.
How much space does this liquid take up? 210 milliliters.
So then this one is a little bit above the 200 line, but it's not up to the 225 line. So they're saying it's about 210 centimeters. When it doesn't quite line up with the line, you kind of have to make a good guess. So you're making an estimate, but you can't make a silly estimate. Like, you have to think about the numbers and use your best guessing skills to figure out about how much how much volume it has.
You can also measure the volume of solid matter. There's 140 cc's of water in this cylinder. What happens after we drop in the stone?
So look at where the green water goes up to in the first picture. And then when the stone's dropped in, the water's higher up. So look at the next one. Maybe if it'll click. Well, it doesn't want to click, but it goes up to 165 cubic centimeters. So we can measure how much the water went up and find the difference between the two numbers. So 165 minus 140 is 25 cubic centimeters. So then we can decide and tell that the mass of the rock is 25 cubic centimeters because it's going to be the difference between the two numbers. So 25 cubic centimeters is the difference between the two numbers. So how much it went up after we dropped the rock in.
Temperature is another physical property. You probably describe temperature without even knowing it. When you say a bowl of soup is hot, you're describing its temperature, or how much heat energy it has. If you put a thermometer in the soup, you could actually measure its temperature. Let's look at some temperatures. Click a picture to discover more. It's warm outside. It's 28 degrees Celsius, or 82 degrees Fahrenheit.
So wherever this red line in the middle is what the temperature is. So you look at that line, and how high it goes up is the hotter it is.
Things can get really hot when you're cooking. Be careful, the temperature here is 225 degrees Celsius, which is 437 degrees Fahrenheit. Brr, ice is freezing. 0 degrees Celsius to be exact. This is equivalent to 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
So in America, we use Fahrenheit to measure how hot or cold something is, and pretty much everywhere else in the world uses Celsius. So you can use both to tell the temperature, but when we talk about going outside for outside recess in the wintertime, remember when it's too cold, when it's below that 32 degrees, we can't go outside because it's below freezing. So that's how we decide whether or not it's safe to go outside, because if it's below freezing, it could be too cold to be out there for too long. So that's one of the temperatures that we pay attention to a lot at school.
Not too hot or cold. This water is 23 degrees Celsius, or about 73 degrees Fahrenheit. When you say you have a fever, you're talking about your body's temperature. This child's temperature is 38 degrees Celsius, or 101 degrees Fahrenheit.
So your body is usually around 98 degrees Fahrenheit. So if it's higher than that, that means you usually have a fever. And you get a fever because your body is working hard to fight off viruses and any sickness that's in your body. So it's working harder, so it makes the temperature go up. So that's why you get a fever if you're sick. And then the last one.
Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, or 212 degrees Fahrenheit.
And then if you look at the thermometer that's in the water, it shows you that it's up at 100 degrees Celsius, or 212 Fahrenheit.
Look at these two containers. They each contain water. What can you tell about the mass of the water in each container? Click your answer.
So volume A, the first container, has 0.5 liters, so half a liter of water, and group B has 0.5 or half a liter of water. So which one has more? If we're comparing them with a greater than, less than, or equal to sign, what would you say for the two numbers? 0.5 is greater than, less than, or equal to 0.5. They are the same. So even though they don't look the same, it's because the containers that they're in are different. So if you, at your house, get a measuring cup of water and you put it in a big bowl, it's going to look shallower or like less water than if you pour it into the cup that you're drinking out of. So depending on the container, the liquid might look different, but it's the same. It has the same amount in it. They just look different.
That's right. Mass describes the amount of matter in an object. Volume is the amount of space matter takes up. Both containers hold the same type of matter, water. Therefore, if the volume is equal, then the masses are equal.
So they're the same.
You've learned that temperature is a physical property. Now, see if you can sort these objects based on how hot or cold they are. Drag your answer to the correct location.
So I'll do the easy ones first. Ice cream we know is cold, water's cold, hot chocolate's hot, soup's hot. And then these marshmallows are on fire, so they are hot. And these
Great job!
are cold.
You used clues in the pictures to know which things are hot and which are cold.
And then the last one. Maybe.
You've learned a lot about physical properties. Before we finish, let's take a quick look at the main points you covered. Matter has mass and takes up space. Matter can be described using observable properties, such as size, shape, color, texture, and hardness. All matter has mass. You use a balance to measure mass. All matter has volume. You use beakers, graduated cylinders, and other similar tools to measure the volume of liquids and small solid objects with irregular shapes. You measure and multiply to find the volume of a regular solid. You use a thermometer to measure the temperature of matter in degrees Celsius or degrees Fahrenheit. Now that you've finished this lesson, if you wish, you can go back and review any part of the lesson again.
And that is your science lesson for the day. So go back and look in your book at lesson 1, and you can rewatch this video while you take the lesson 1 quiz in your quiz packet.